Hi everyone, Christina here. Welcome to another card video at my YouTube channel and blog. Today I'm using the Wonderful Florals stamp set from Concord and Ninth. This stamp set came out a little bit ago and I didn't have a chance to use it right when it first came out. But here I am now, and I'm going to be creating a really simple one-layer card using this large image. So I'm using this ink. The color is Blackout, and it's from Ink on 3. And they actually sent me this ink by request of my friend Lydia. She's been raving about this ink, and she knows the owner of the company and had them send me this ink. So this is my first time trying out this ink. It claims to be waterproof and Copic marker friendly. It's a hybrid ink, so they say it looks like a pigment ink, that the thickness and solidness of a pigment ink, but you have the really fast drying properties of a dye ink. So we'll see how that goes. At this point, I wasn't sure how well it was working. I got pretty good coverage, but I did have to restamp this image a second time, which, to be honest, is not really that unusual considering the size of the image. This stamp is very large, so I think no matter what ink you were using and you had a MISTI tool, you'd probably want to restamp it a couple of times just to make sure that you get a really solid impression. So that was my experience with this ink. So I don't think that's anything to fault the ink. That doesn't fault the ink at all. I think that's just the nature of the large stamp. But I did get a really good impression on the second round, the second time I stamped this image. And because I did stamp it quite a bit, and I wasn't sure how it would react, I thought it would be best to heat set this just to make sure it's completely dry. Because I've used other inks in the past, for example, the Simon's stamp Intense Black ink, which I have used for Copic coloring in recent years. But if I don't let that dry a little bit, it can kind of smear a little bit when I'm coloring with my Copic markers. So in order to just give this the best shot possible, I thought I better heat set it just to be safe. So I'm doing a bunch of Copic coloring today. I'm going to be coloring the flowers blue and red. And then there are some other kind of blooms here that sort of look like succulents to me. They don't really look like flowers, although you could color them like flowers. And I think by having them more of like a floral color instead of green, I think it might read like flowers, but I thought they looked like succulents. So you'll see me color those green. And I'm doing different shades of green because there's quite a few different types of foliage on this image here. So I'll be changing the green colors. I also wanted to mention that you saw me slip a piece of grid paper underneath my project here. I did that because this Copic ink will bleed through to the back of the cardstock, and if you don't have something underneath that could absorb any of the ink, it could possibly come back into your cardstock. So at the end here, I had a little bit of the green that went all the way down onto the grid paper, but the other colors seemed to be just fine. So I colored all around using all these different Copic colors, and I basically used a light, medium, and dark for each shade. I think for the red flowers, I did use an additional darker brown shade just to get some intense shading. But other than that, I just used 3 colors for each color, or 3 markers for each color. So I'm going to turn on some music so you can watch the coloring, and I will catch up with you when all of the coloring is finished. I love this image so much, and I love how it turned out. I used a ton of marker colors on this one card. Lots of greens, just a few reds, some oranges, and some blues, but I really love how it turned out. This color palette, I'm really in love with it. So that's what it looks like all finished. And I'm going to now put it onto my card base. So my card base is made out of the same cardstock. This is Neenah Classic Crest Solar White cardstock. The coloring piece I actually did on the 80-pound version of that cardstock, and then the card base is made out of the 110-pound version. So the card base is a little bit more thick than the other one. I put some Tombow Extreme adhesive on the back, and then I sort of lined it up using my hands and press that down onto the card base. So I did notice it had a little pink spot right at the bottom below that blue flower. It was a little bit of red. I think I actually picked it up off on my work surface. So I had to use this is a Tombow sand eraser, and it just sands away some of that color on the surface and cleans it up. So that's the card for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. I love one-layer cards like this because they're so easy to send through the mail. Thanks so much for watching today. I'll be back very soon with another card video.